Full disclaimer, I've read this book, and by read, I mean that I was physically present while this book was being read my senior year of high school. So my recollection of this book is unreliable at best, downright non existent for like the second half. I DNF'd Dante's Inferno, which sounds a lot dirtier than it actually is. So we're reading it for real this time. There's a few things you should know about Dante before we get started. For one, he's a poet, like a really good one. He's from Florence, Italy, Catholic, and he had beef with the Pope, specifically Pope Boniface VIII, whose name I'm not entirely sure I'm pronouncing correctly. Like most medieval political conflicts, it had to do with the power of the church. There was a political party in Florence that was popular at the time called the Guelphs, and there was a major divide between the Black Guelphs and the White Guelphs. The Black Guelphs believed that the Pope should have more influence on everyday life and was aligned with the aristocracy. And the White Guelphs believed that the Pope should have less influence over everyday life and were aligned more with the merchant class. Of course, Pope Boniface VIII was more aligned with the Black Guelphs, and Dante was aligned with the White Guelphs. Boom, beef. The Black Guelphs eventually take over Florence and end up exiling him on charges of corruption. Let's put this in Drag Race terms. In my opinion, the modern dynamic that most mirrors medieval political conflict. This would be as if RuPaul were Pope Boniface VIII, Michel Visage was the Pope's right-hand man, Charles de Valois, another name I'm not entirely sure I'm pronouncing correctly, and Dante is celebrity guest judge Ariana Grande. Imagine a scenario where celebrity guest judge Ariana Grande gives a critique that Michelle and RuPaul both vehemently disagree with. Perhaps she says H&M belongs on the runway. Perhaps she comes out with an anti-fracking stance. Who can say? Michelle and RuPaul are both so incensed by Ariana's opinion that they banned her from RuPaul's Drag Race forever. Ariana Grande, understandably distraught, goes and writes an album about her entire experience. That album goes on to win Album of the Year at the Grammys. And then 700 years later, we're still talking about the album. That's Dante's Inferno. Canto 1, The Dark Woods. Dante opens the Inferno with the following line. Midway on our life's journey, I found myself in dark woods, the right road lost. Dante is having a midlife crisis. Yes, my camera is moving around. It is going to be inconsistent because I am bad at filming things and my tripod is broken. The dark woods could be a metaphor for sin and corruption, because contextually we know that at this point Dante has been exiled from Florence on charges of corruption, so he's kind of adrift in his life at the peak of his career. The line, the right road lost, also implies that there's some sort of connection with sin and morality here. Another cool thing this opening does is begin in medias res, which basically just means in the middle of things. This is a device that you'll see in other epics should you read them, like the Odyssey. And basically what Dante is doing is priming us for this huge tale. While Dante's in the dark woods, he tries to scale this hill. If we're tracking along with the metaphor of the dark woods as a symbol of sin and corruption, the hill we can assume is the path to righteousness. As Dante is scaling this hill, three representations of sin stand in his way. First, he sees a leopard, which is a representation or could be a representation of lust. Then he sees a lion, which is traditionally a representation of pride. And then he sees a she-wolf, and wolves are traditionally a representation of greed. After Dante sees the wolf the lion and the leopard, the ghost shows up. It's Virgil. Who the fuck is Virgil? Virgil is an ancient Roman poet, basically the Beyonce of Latin literature. He's one of the big three. In this metaphor, Ovid being Tina Turner and Horace being Whitney Houston. Virgil's mainly known for writing the Aeneid, which is this huge epic that tells the story of Aeneas, the founder of Rome and this Trojan warrior. And as a poet, Dante stands. This is what Dante says to Virgil seconds after meeting him. The glory and light are yours that poets follow. May the love that made me search your book in patient study avail me, master. You are my guide and author, whose verses teach me the graceful style whose model has done me honor. Stand behavior. Dante asks Virgil for help getting out of the dark woods, and Virgil tells Dante that the only way out is through hell and purgatory, that is. He also hints that someone else will become Dante's guide when he gets to heaven. And so they set off. If you're interested in following along on this journey, please subscribe. If you liked this video, please leave a like. Thank you for coming to my presentation. Bye.